The Chinese takeout containers were getting heavy in my arms as I climbed the stairs to Sophia's apartment. 3 flights up, and the smell of General Tso's chicken was making my stomach growl. I'd left work early at the HVAC shop, thinking I'd surprise my girlfriend with dinner and maybe catch the end of her girls' night. Maybe even join them for a drink. What an idiot I was. I reached her door and fumbled for my keys, balancing the food bags against my hip. That's when I heard her voice, crystal clear through the thin apartment door. Sophia always talked loud when she'd been drinking. Honestly, he's just a phase. I froze, key halfway to the lock. The hallway suddenly felt 10 degrees colder. What do you mean? That was Jessica, Sophia's college roommate. I recognized her nasally voice anywhere. I mean Danny. Sophia's laugh was sharp, cruel. I'm using him to make Trevor jealous. You know my ex? The one who works at Goldman Sachs? My hand started shaking. The keys jingled softly. Oh my God, Sophia, that's brilliant! Another voice. Amanda, probably. So Danny doesn't know? Of course not. He's temporary, just until Trevor sees me happy and wants me back. Which is already working, by the way. Trevor texted me yesterday, finally noticing I've moved on. The takeout containers suddenly weighed 1,000 pounds. I set them down quietly on the hallway carpet, my knees feeling weak. But what about Danny? Jessica asked. I mean, he seems really into you. He is, which makes it perfect. Trevor can see I'm not sitting around waiting for him anymore. But once Trevor commits, I'll dump phase guy and go back to dating actual successful men. Phase guy. They were calling me phase guy like it was some kind of joke. I pressed my back against the wall, my heart hammering so hard I was sure they could hear it through the door. This couldn't be real. We'd been together 8 months. She'd met my parents. I'd been looking at engagement rings online. How long are you planning to string him along? Amanda's voice was amused, like they were discussing a TV show. However long it takes. Danny's sweet, but let's be honest. He fixes air conditioners for a living. Trevor's going to make partner before he's 30. It's not even a contest. More laughter. Wine glasses clinked. You're terrible, Jessica said, but she was giggling. Poor Danny has no idea he's just a pawn in your master plan. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. Besides, I'm doing him a favor. He gets to date way out of his league for a while, and I get my real boyfriend back. Everyone wins. Except Danny, Amanda pointed out. Danny will be fine. Guys like him are used to getting dumped. He'll probably go back to dating waitresses and community college girls where he belongs. The cruelty in her voice hit me like a physical blow. 8 months of I love you, of planning weekend trips, of her telling me I was different from all the other guys. 8 months of lies. I picked up the takeout containers with numb fingers and walked back down the stairs. My footsteps echoed in the empty stairwell, but I barely heard them over the blood rushing in my ears. In my truck, I sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at Sophia's lit windows 3 floors up. I could see shadows moving around inside, my girlfriend and her friends, probably still laughing about what a pathetic loser I was. My phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. Hey babe, girls' night running late. Don't wait up. Love you. Love you. Right. I started the engine and drove home to my small house on the other side of town. The house Sophia always found excuses not to stay at because it was too far from everything. Because it wasn't good enough for someone planning to marry a future Goldman Sachs partner. That night, I didn't sleep. I just lay in bed, replaying every moment of our relationship, seeing it all through this new, horrible lens. The way she'd change the subject whenever I brought up the future. How she never wanted to make our relationship Facebook official. The times she'd seemed almost disappointed when I'd surprise her with something romantic, like she was hoping I'd give her a reason to leave. I'd been so blind. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove to Sophia's place while she was at her real estate job. I still had my key, so I let myself in and gathered everything of hers I'd accumulated over 8 months. Clothes, toiletries, books, the spare phone charger she kept at my place. I packed it all carefully in boxes and loaded it into my truck. Then I drove to her office. Pinnacle Realty was one of those glass front buildings downtown where everyone wore suits and talked about market dynamics. I'd always felt out of place there in my work boots and jeans, but Sophia had insisted I pick her up there sometimes, showing off her blue-collar boyfriend to make some other guy jealous, I now realized. I stacked the boxes by the reception desk and asked the secretary to give them to Sophia Mitchell. "Should I tell her who dropped them off?" the woman asked, looking confused. "She'll know," I said. Then I went home and changed my Facebook status to single, blocked Sophia's number, deleted her from Instagram, Snapchat, everything. 8 months erased in 30 minutes. My phone started ringing an hour later. Unknown numbers. Probably Sophia calling from the office or borrowing someone else's phone. I let them all go to voicemail and didn't listen to the messages. For 3 days, it was radio silence from everyone. Then the mutual friends started reaching out. "Dude, what happened with you and Sophia?" my buddy Mike texted. "She's telling everyone you just disappeared." I didn't respond. What was I supposed to say? That I'd found out my girlfriend was using me as a prop in her scheme to win back her ex? That I was apparently so pathetic? Her friends thought it was hilarious? Then Emma reached out. Emma was Sophia's best friend from high school, though they'd grown apart over the years. She was different from Sophia's usual crowd. She worked as a nurse at the county hospital, drove a 10-year-old Honda, and had never once made me feel like I wasn't good enough. The few times we'd all hung out together, she'd actually talk to me like I was a real person instead of Sophia's temporary accessory. Her text was simple. "I heard what she said. I'm sorry." I stared at the message for a long time before responding. "You were there?" "No, but Jessica told me. She thought it was funny. I didn't." "How long have you known?" "About Trevor? A while, about you being temporary?" I suspected, but hearing the details made me sick. "You deserve better." That broke something loose in my chest. For 3 days, I'd been wondering if maybe I was overreacting, if maybe Sophia hadn't meant it the way it sounded. But Emma's words confirmed it. I hadn't imagined anything. Sophia really had been using me. "Want to grab coffee?" Emma texted. "I think we should talk." We met at Grounded, a little coffee shop downtown that Sophia would never be caught dead in because it wasn't trendy enough. Emma was already there when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth with 2 cups in front of her. "I got you a black coffee," she said, as I slid into the seat across from her. "That's how you take it, right?" I nodded, surprised she'd remembered. Sophia had been dating me for 8 months and still asked how I liked my coffee. Emma looked tired. Her brown hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she was wearing scrubs, probably coming off a shift at the hospital. "I want you to know I never liked how she treated you," she said without preamble. "Even before I knew about Trevor." "How long have you known about him?" "They never really broke up," Emma said quietly. "I mean, officially they did, like 2 years ago. But Sophia never got over him. She talks about him constantly. What he's doing, who he's dating, whether he's seen her Instagram posts. It's obsessive." I wrapped my hands around the coffee mug, needing something to hold on to. So this whole thing with me was always about making him jealous. I'm sorry, Danny. I should have said something sooner, but Sophia's been my friend since we were 15. I kept hoping she'd grow up, stop playing these games. What changed your mind? Emma's jaw tightened. Jessica called me yesterday laughing about Sophia's brilliant plan. She told me everything they said that night, about you being a phase, about how you'd go back to dating waitresses when Sophia was done with you. It was cruel, Danny, really cruel. The coffee tasted like ash in my mouth. Did it work? Is Trevor taking the bait? He texted her a few times asking about you, but he's not stupid. He knows Sophia's games. Last I heard, he was dating some lawyer from his firm, someone age-appropriate and drama-free. I laughed bitterly. So she destroyed our relationship for nothing. Pretty much. Emma leaned forward. Danny, can I ask you something? Sure. Are you okay? Really okay? Because what she did, it's not normal. It's sociopathic. I'd been asking myself the same question for days. Was I okay? I felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped out my insides with a spoon. But underneath the hurt was something else. Anger. Pure, clean anger. I keep thinking about all the signs I missed, I said. How she never wanted to talk about moving in together. How she'd get this weird look on her face when I'd mention the future. How she never seemed excited about anything I planned for us. Because she was always thinking about someone else. Yeah. I met Emma's eyes. The screwed up part is, I was going to propose. I've been saving up for a ring. Emma's face crumpled. Oh, Danny. Dodged a bullet, right? The biggest bullet ever. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You're a good guy. You deserve someone who sees that. Her touch was warm, comforting. Sophia's hands were always cold, always pulling away first. We talked for 2 hours. Emma told me more about Sophia's history, the pattern of using guys to make other guys jealous, the way she'd drop friends the moment they were no longer useful, her obsession with status and appearances. She wasn't always like this, Emma said. In high school, she was actually sweet. But college changed her. She got caught up in this world of sorority girls and rich boys, and she started seeing relationships as transactions instead of, well, relationships. Why are you still friends with her? Emma was quiet for a long moment. Honestly, I'm not sure we are anymore. What she did to you, I can't pretend that's okay. And the way she talks about people, like they're just objects to be used, it makes me sick. When we finally left the coffee shop, Emma walked me to my truck. Thank you, I said, for telling me the truth, for not pretending what she did was okay. You don't have to thank me for basic human decency. She was standing close enough that I could smell her shampoo, something clean and simple, not like Sophia's expensive perfumes that always gave me headaches. Danny? Emma's voice was soft. I know this is probably terrible timing, but would you maybe want to have dinner sometime? Not as friends, I mean. As more than friends. I stared at her. Emma, you're Sophia's best friend. Was. Past tense. Her cheeks were pink, but she held my gaze steadily. Look, I've always thought you were a good guy. The way you treated Sophia, even when she didn't deserve it, you're kind, you're funny, you're genuine. Those are rare qualities. You're not just feeling sorry for me? If I was feeling sorry for you, I'd offer to bake you cookies or something. I'm asking you out because I like you. I've liked you for months, actually, but you were with Sophia, so I kept my mouth shut. I thought about it. Emma was beautiful in a completely different way than Sophia. Natural, unpretentious, real. She had laugh lines around her eyes and calluses on her hands from her job. She was the kind of woman who'd remember how you liked your coffee. Okay, I said. Yeah, I'd like that. Her smile could have powered the whole city. Tomorrow night, there's this little Italian place on 5th Street that makes incredible pasta. It's a date. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in days. For the first time since I'd heard Sophia's voice through that apartment door, I felt like maybe everything was going to be okay. I should have known it wouldn't be that simple. Emma and I had been dating for exactly 1 week when Sophia found out. 1 perfect week of actual conversation, of someone who laughed at my jokes and asked about my day and didn't check her phone every 5 minutes to see if some other guy had texted her. Emma was everything Sophia wasn't. Genuine, caring, present. She came to my house and didn't wrinkle her nose at my furniture. She met me at the shop after work and wasn't embarrassed to be seen with a guy in work clothes. She kissed me like she meant it. I should have known the peace wouldn't last. We'd posted 1 picture together, nothing dramatic, just the 2 of us at dinner, Emma laughing at something I'd said. I tagged her, she tagged me back, and within an hour my phone was exploding. 17 missed calls from Sophia. 43 text messages that got progressively more unhinged. How could you do this to me? My best friend? Really? This is just to hurt me and you know it. Call me back right now. You're pathetic, using Emma to get back at me. I can't believe I wasted 8 months on someone so vindictive. The last one made me laugh out loud. I was vindictive? I wasn't the one who'd spent 8 months lying to someone's face. Then the voicemails started. The first few were Sophia crying, begging me to call her back. Then they got angry. You think you're so smart, don't you? Sleeping with my best friend to get revenge? Well, congratulations, Danny. You've shown everyone exactly what kind of person you really are. By the time Emma got off her shift at the hospital, Sophia had apparently been calling her too. She's lost her mind, Emma said when she called me. She left me a 20-minute voicemail about how I betrayed her and how you're just using me to hurt her. The narcissism is unreal. Are you okay? I'm fine. Are you? Better than fine. How was your day? Emma laughed. You're not going to let her drama ruin this, are you? Not a chance. But Sophia wasn't done. The next morning, she showed up at my house. I was getting ready for work when I heard pounding on my front door. Through the window, I could see Sophia's white BMW in my driveway, parked at an angle like she'd been in a hurry. Danny! She was shouting through the door. I know you're in there! We need to talk! I considered ignoring her, but my neighbors were probably already watching the show. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in. Sophia looked terrible. Her usually perfect hair was messy, her makeup smeared like she'd been crying. She was wearing the same clothes from yesterday. Finally, she said, pushing past me into my living room. Do you have any idea what you've done? I've done? I stayed by the open door. Sophia, you used me. For 8 months you pretended to care about me while planning to dump me for your ex. That's not... It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I heard you, Sophia, through your apartment door. Every word. Her face went pale. You were listening to a private conversation. I was bringing you dinner, you psycho. I heard my girlfriend calling me a phase and laughing about how I'd go back to dating waitresses when you were done with me. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. Bullshit. You meant every word. I stepped toward the door. Now get out. Wait. She grabbed my arm. Danny, please, I made a mistake, okay? I was confused about my feelings for Trevor, but being with you made me realize he's not what I want. You are. Convenient timing, considering Trevor's not interested. Her grip tightened. How do you know that? Because I'm not as stupid as you think I am. Danny, please. I love you. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. We can start over. Looking at her, I felt nothing. No anger, no hurt, no lingering affection. Just emptiness, where 8 months of fake love used to be. Sophia, I wouldn't take you back if you were the last woman on earth. Because of Emma? Her voice turned vicious. You think she actually cares about you? She's just feeling sorry for you, Danny. Poor little blue-collar boy who got his heart broken. She'll get bored in a month and move on to someone more her speed. Like you did? That's not... She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Please don't do this. Don't throw away what we had for some rebound relationship. What we had was a lie. You made sure of that. I can change. I can be better. I don't want you to change, Sophia. I want you to leave me alone. She stared at me for a long moment, her face cycling through disbelief, anger, and something that might have been genuine regret. Fine, she said finally, but don't come crying to me when Emma breaks your heart. Don't expect me to take you back when you realize what a mistake you've made. I won't. After she left, I sat on my couch for a while, processing what had just happened. 8 months ago, if Sophia had shown up at my door crying and begging, I would have taken her back in a heartbeat. I would have convinced myself that her tears meant she really loved me. Now all I felt was relief that she was gone. My phone rang. Emma. "Hey," I said. "How's your morning going?" "Better now that I'm talking to you. Sophia came by the hospital." "Shit. I'm sorry." "Don't be. It was actually kind of illuminating. She accused me of stealing you from her, said I was a terrible friend, told me you were just using me for revenge intimacy. Please tell me you didn't believe that." "Danny, I've known Sophia for 15 years. I know how she operates when she doesn't get her way. This is just her throwing a tantrum because someone finally called her on her bullshit." "So we're okay?" "We're more than okay. Want to grab lunch?" "I'd love that." But as I got ready for work, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Sophia had never been good at accepting rejection, and now she'd lost both her backup plan and her best friend. Something told me she wasn't going to go quietly. 3 weeks later, Sophia's tantrum had evolved into a full-scale campaign to destroy my life. It started small. Mutual friends began asking weird questions about Emma and me, clearly repeating things Sophia had told them. Was I sure Emma wasn't just a rebound? Had I considered that maybe I was moving too fast? Wasn't it kind of messed up to date my ex's best friend? Then my business started taking hits. I'd built my HVAC company from nothing over 5 years. It wasn't huge, just me and 2 part-time guys. But we had steady clients and a good reputation. Sophia knew that, knew how hard I'd worked to establish myself. Mrs. Patterson, who'd been using my services for 3 years, suddenly canceled her maintenance contract. When I called to ask why, she was vague and uncomfortable. "We've decided to go with a larger company," she said. "Someone more established." 2 days later, the Hendersons canceled their installation job. A week after that, 3 more clients found reasons to end their contracts. I might have chalked it up to coincidence if Emma hadn't overheard Jessica bragging about Sophia's brilliant strategy at some wine bar downtown. "She's telling everyone you're unstable," Emma reported. "Apparently, you're a stalker who can't handle rejection, and you're using me to get back at her. She's also implying that your business is failing because you're too distracted by your revenge plot to do good work." And people believe this shit? Sophia's very convincing when she wants to be. Plus, she's been playing the victim so hard that people feel sorry for her. The victim. Right. The woman who'd used me as a prop in her scheme to win back her ex was now the victim because I'd had the audacity to find someone who actually gave a damn about me. But the business thing was crossing a line. Sophia could trash my reputation all she wanted, but my company was my livelihood. I'd worked too hard to let her destroy it with lies. That's when I decided to fight back. I started with social media. Sophia had always been obsessed with her online image, perfectly curated Instagram posts, Facebook updates designed to make her life look glamorous and enviable. She'd blocked me on everything, but Emma still had access. "I need you to screenshot some things for me," I told Emma over dinner. Specifically, any posts or messages where Sophia talks about Trevor. "Danny, what are you planning?" "Nothing illegal, just evening the playing field." Emma looked skeptical, but agreed to help. Within an hour, she'd sent me a treasure trove of evidence. Sophia's Instagram posts about missing her one that got away, Facebook messages to mutual friends about her plan to win Trevor back, even a screenshot of her dating profile that was still active during our entire relationship. The dating profile was the smoking gun. Sophia had been on Bumble and Hinge throughout our 8-month relationship, describing herself as recently single and ready for adventure. The timestamps showed she'd been active as recently as 2 weeks before I'd overheard her girl's night confession. I created a simple Facebook post with the screenshots. Just wanted to clear up some rumors that have been circulating about my recent breakup. I ended things with my ex after discovering she'd been using our relationship to make another guy jealous. She was also actively dating other people throughout our time together, as evidenced by these dating profiles that were active until very recently. I'm not the unstable ex-boyfriend she's portraying me as, I'm just someone who refused to be anyone's backup plan, thanks to everyone who's reached out with support during this time. I tagged mutual friends who'd been asking questions and hit post. The response was immediate and explosive. Within an hour, the post had dozens of likes and comments. People were sharing it, adding their own stories about Sophia's manipulative behavior, expressing shock at the dating profiles. The narrative was shifting, and Sophia was losing control of it. She called me 20 minutes after I posted it, screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "Take it down! Take it down right now! No! You're ruining my life! I'm telling the truth. If that ruins your life, maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to ruin mine. I'll sue you for defamation. With what evidence? Everything I posted is true, and I have proof. You're a vindictive piece of shit, Danny. I hope you know that. I'm vindictive? You tried to destroy my business because I wouldn't take you back after you used me. But sure, I'm the problem here." She hung up on me. The next morning, 3 of my former clients called to apologize and reinstate their contracts. Apparently, they'd seen my post and realized they'd been fed a pack of lies. But Sophia wasn't done. If anything, my public retaliation had made her more determined to hurt me. The real war was just beginning. Sophia's next move was to recruit reinforcements, and she knew exactly who to call. My former best friend Jake had always been jealous of my relationship with Sophia. He'd made comments over the years about how I was punching above my weight class and how lucky I was that someone like her would date someone like me. I'd brushed it off as harmless ribbing between friends, but looking back, I could see the resentment simmering underneath. Sophia had always been friendly with Jake, a little too friendly. She'd laugh at his jokes, touch his arm when she talked to him, give him just enough attention to keep him interested. I'd assumed it was harmless flirting, but now I realized it had been strategic. She'd been cultivating him as an ally, just in case she ever needed one. Well, now she needed one. Jake called me on a Thursday evening while I was at Emma's place, helping her paint her kitchen. "Dude, we need to talk," he said, without preamble. "About what?" "About the way you've been acting since you and Sophia broke up. This whole thing with Emma, the Facebook post, it's not a good look, man." I set down my paintbrush and walked into the living room. "What exactly are you trying to say, Jake?" "I'm saying you're being a dick. Sophia made a mistake, okay? She admitted that. But instead of being the bigger person, you're trying to humiliate her publicly and dating her best friend out of spite." "Her best friend who actually gives a shit about me, you mean?" "Come on, Danny. You think Emma really likes you? She's just trying to hurt Sophia, too. You're both using each other to get revenge." The accusation hit like a slap. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I? Look, I get that you're hurt. But this scorched earth bullshit isn't helping anyone. Sophia's a wreck, Emma's caught in the middle, and you're making yourself look like a psycho." "A psycho?" "Jake, Sophia used me for 8 months to make another guy jealous. She called me a phase to her friends. She tried to destroy my business when I wouldn't take her back, but I'm the psycho for defending myself?" "You're the psycho for not letting it go. Move on, man. Find someone new. Stop trying to hurt Sophia just because she hurt you." That's when I realized Jake wasn't calling as my friend. He was calling as Sophia's advocate. "How long have you been talking to Sophia about this?" I asked. "That's not—" "Look, she's concerned about you, okay? We all are." "We all?" "Your friends, Danny. The people who care about you. We think you need help." "My friends." Right. The same friends who'd been asking me weird questions about Emma, who'd been giving me concerned looks and unsolicited advice about moving on and being the bigger person. Sophia hadn't just been spreading lies about me. She'd been recruiting my own friends to her cause. "Jake, let me ask you something. If you found out your girlfriend was using you to make her ex jealous, what would you do?" "I'd break up with her and move on like an adult." "And if she tried to destroy your business afterward?" "I wouldn't have given her ammunition by acting like a vindictive asshole." There it was. In Jake's mind, I was the villain of this story. Sophia was the victim, and I was the unstable ex who couldn't handle rejection. You know what, Jake? Screw you. Danny, I hung up. Emma appeared in the doorway, paint-splattered and concerned. Everything okay? Sophia's been working on my friends, turning them against me. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's actually clarifying. Now I know who my real friends are. But it hurt more than I wanted to admit. Jake and I had been friends since high school. We'd been each other's best men at our respective weddings. Well, Jake's wedding. Mine had been called off when my fiancée decided she wanted to explore her options instead. Seeing a pattern here yet? Over the next week, more friends revealed their true colors. My buddy Mike stopped returning my calls. Tom, who I'd known since middle school, sent me a long text about how I needed to take responsibility for my part in this mess. Even my cousin Lisa, who'd never liked Sophia, suggested that maybe I was overreacting to the whole situation. Sophia had been busy, painting herself as the wronged party, and me as the bitter ex who couldn't let go. And it was working. The isolation was getting to me. Emma was amazing, but she was dealing with her own fallout from choosing my side over Sophia's. Her other friends were giving her grief, questioning her loyalty, making her feel guilty for betraying Sophia. We were both paying the price for refusing to play Sophia's games. That's when I decided to stop playing defense and go on offense. If Sophia wanted a war, I'd give her one. But I was going to fight it on my terms, with my weapons. And my best weapon was the truth. The truth about Sophia was uglier than even I had realized. It took me 2 weeks of careful investigation, but I uncovered the full scope of her manipulations. Not just with me, but with everyone in her orbit. Emma had been my starting point. As Sophia's former best friend, she knew where the bodies were buried. She's done this before, Emma told me over coffee, the using guys to make other guys jealous thing. In college, she dated this sweet guy named Marcus for 6 months while trying to win back her high school boyfriend. When it didn't work, she dumped Marcus and told everyone he'd been stalking her. What happened to Marcus? He transferred schools, couldn't handle the social pressure. The pattern was becoming clear. Sophia didn't just use people, she destroyed them when they were no longer useful. There's more, Emma said reluctantly. Sophia's been stealing clients from her co-workers at the real estate office. She'll swoop in on their listings, undercut their commissions, whatever it takes to get ahead. 2 agents have quit because of her. How do you know all this? Because she brags about it. She thinks it's clever being ruthless in business. She doesn't see how it makes her look like a sociopath. But the real bombshell came from an unexpected source, Trevor himself. I'd found Trevor's contact information through mutual connections and reached out to him directly. I wasn't sure what I was hoping to accomplish, but I needed to understand his side of the story. He agreed to meet me at a bar downtown, probably out of curiosity more than anything else. Trevor was exactly what I'd expected. Tall, well-dressed, the kind of guy who looked like he belonged in a boardroom. But he wasn't the arrogant asshole I'd imagined. I want you to know I had no idea about you, he said, after I'd explained the situation. If I'd known Sophia was using you to make me jealous, I would have told you myself. But you knew she was trying to win you back? Oh yeah, she made it pretty obvious. The constant social media posts, the accidental run-ins at places she knew I'd be, the mutual friends asking if I'd seen how happy she looked with her new boyfriend. He shook his head. It was pathetic, honestly. Why didn't you tell her to stop? I did, multiple times, but Sophia doesn't hear no very well. She hears, try harder. Trevor took a sip of his beer and looked at me with something like sympathy. You seem like a decent guy, Danny. I'm sorry she put you through this. But I'm not surprised. Sophia's always been intense about getting what she wants. What do you mean? When we broke up 2 years ago, it was because I caught her going through my phone, following my female co-workers on social media, showing up at my office unannounced. She was convinced I was cheating on her, which I wasn't. The paranoia and controlling behavior got so bad that I had to block her on everything and threaten to get a restraining order. Jesus. The funny thing is, she was the one who was cheating. I found out later she'd been seeing some guy from her yoga class for months, but in her mind, I was the villain because I wouldn't put up with her crazy. This was news to me. Sophia had always portrayed Trevor as the love of her life who'd broken her heart. She'd never mentioned cheating on him or stalking him. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because I've been where you are. Sophia has this way of making you feel like you're the problem, like you're the one who's being unreasonable. But you're not. She's genuinely unstable, and she'll destroy anyone who gets in the way of what she wants." Trevor's words confirmed what I'd already started to suspect. Sophia wasn't just manipulative or selfish, she was genuinely dangerous. Armed with this new information, I made a decision that would have seemed unthinkable a month earlier. I was going to expose Sophia completely, not just to our mutual friends, but to everyone in her professional and social circles. I was going to make sure that everyone knew exactly what kind of person she really was. It was nuclear option time. I started by documenting everything. Screenshots of her dating profiles during our relationship, text messages she'd sent me that contradicted her public narrative, photos of us together with timestamps that proved how long we'd been dating. Emma provided additional evidence, messages Sophia had sent her about the plan to use me, complaints about how boring I was compared to Trevor, even voicemails where Sophia laughed about how clueless I was. Then I reached out to Sophia's co-workers at the real estate office. It turns out several of them had been documenting her unethical behavior, hoping to build a case to get her fired. They were more than happy to share their evidence with me. The final piece came from Marcus, the guy Sophia had destroyed in college. Emma had stayed in touch with him over the years, and when she reached out, he was eager to tell his story. "She ruined my life," he told me over the phone. "I was a shy kid, didn't have many friends, and when Sophia started dating me, I thought I'd won the lottery. Then she dumped me out of nowhere and started telling people I was obsessed with her, that I wouldn't leave her alone. I had to transfer schools to escape the harassment. Would you be willing to go public with your story?" Absolutely. It's been 10 years, and I still get angry thinking about what she did to me. If I can prevent her from doing it to someone else, I'm in. With all my evidence compiled, I created a comprehensive blog post detailing Sophia's pattern of manipulation and abuse. I included screenshots, testimonials from her victims, and documentation of her unethical business practices. I titled it, "The Truth About Sophia Mitchell, a Pattern of Manipulation and Abuse." Then I shared it everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I sent it to her coworkers, her clients, her family members. I made sure everyone in her orbit would see it. The response was immediate and devastating. Within hours, Sophia's real estate office had suspended her pending an investigation. Her clients were canceling contracts. Her social media accounts were flooded with angry comments from people she'd wronged over the years. My phone started ringing around midnight. Sophia, hysterical and barely coherent. "You've destroyed me," she sobbed. "You've ruined my entire life." "I've told the truth," I said calmly. "If that ruins your life, maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to ruin mine. Please take it down. I'll do anything. I'll leave you alone. I'll tell everyone I was wrong about you. I'll pay you money. Just please make it stop." For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered Marcus, transferring schools to escape her lies. I remembered my lost clients, my friends who'd turned against me, the 8 months of my life she'd stolen with her deception. "No," I said. "You made your choices, Sophia. Now live with the consequences." I hung up and blocked her number. The war was over, and I had won. 3 months later, Sophia was gone. She'd lost her job at the real estate office, lost most of her friends, and eventually left town altogether. According to Emma, she'd moved back in with her parents in Ohio, tail between her legs. Jake and the other friends who'd sided with Sophia tried to reach out to me after my blog post went viral, suddenly wanting to hear my side of the story. I ignored them all. They'd shown their true colors when it mattered, and I wasn't interested in reconciliation. My business was thriving. The publicity from the Sophia situation had actually brought in new clients, people who respected the fact that I'd stood up for myself and exposed the truth. Turns out there were a lot of people in town who'd had their own run-ins with Sophia over the years, but the best part of the whole situation was Emma. What had started as mutual support in the aftermath of Sophia's betrayal had grown into something real and beautiful. Emma was everything Sophia had pretended to be: kind, genuine, supportive, honest. She loved me for who I was, not for what I could do for her. 6 months after our first coffee date, I proposed to her in the same restaurant where we'd had our first real date. She said yes before I'd even finished asking the question. We were planning a small wedding, just close friends and family, people who'd stood by us when things got ugly, who'd seen through Sophia's lies and manipulation. The morning of our engagement party, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Danny?" The voice was barely recognizable, but I knew who it was. "Sophia, I heard about your engagement. Congratulations." She sounded different, smaller, defeated. "What do you want, Sophia?" I wanted to apologize. Really apologize, not just because I got caught. What I did to you was wrong. What I did to Marcus, to my co-workers, to everyone, it was all wrong. I waited. "I've been in therapy," she continued, "trying to figure out why I am the way I am, why I hurt people. My therapist says I have some kind of personality disorder, that I see people as objects instead of, well, people. Okay. I know you have no reason to forgive me. I know I destroyed any chance of that when I tried to ruin your life. But I wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and I'm trying to be better." "Are you? Trying to be better?" "Yeah. It's hard, but yeah. I hurt a lot of people, Danny. You, Marcus, my co-workers, Emma. I can't undo that, but I can try to make sure I don't hurt anyone else." For the first time since I'd known her, Sophia sounded genuine, not manipulative, not calculating, just sad and tired and maybe, finally, honest. "I hope that's true," I said. "Me too." She was quiet for a moment. "Emma's a good person. She deserves to be happy. You both do. Thank you. I won't call again. I needed you to know that I'm sorry." She hung up. I stood there for a long time, holding the phone, processing the conversation. Was Sophia really changing, or was this just another manipulation? I'd probably never know for sure, but it didn't matter. Sophia was part of my past now, a cautionary tale about trusting the wrong person. Emma was my future, honest, loving, real. That evening, surrounded by friends and family who genuinely cared about us, I watched Emma laugh at something my dad had said, and I felt a peace I'd never experienced with Sophia. I'd learned something valuable from the whole ordeal. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Sophia had shown me she was selfish, manipulative, and cruel. I'd ignored the signs because I'd wanted to believe her lies. Emma had shown me she was kind, loyal, and genuine, and I was going to spend the rest of my life appreciating that gift. As I raised my glass to toast our engagement, I caught Emma's eye across the room. She smiled at me, that brilliant, honest smile that had first made me fall for her, and mouthed, "I love you." "I love you too," I mouthed back. And for the first time in my adult life, I knew those words were true on both sides. Sophia had called me a phase, something temporary to be discarded when she was done with me. But phases end, and what's left afterward can be stronger and more beautiful than what came before. Emma and I weren't a phase, we were the real thing, and that made all the pain and drama and betrayal worth it, Because sometimes you have to go through hell to find heaven. Sometimes you have to be broken by the wrong person to be ready for the right one. Sophia had broken me, but Emma had put me back together, better than I'd been before. The phase was over. The rest of my life was just beginning.